Okay, folks, Audioterm, KTERM, envelope, addendum, take 2. What I didn't show you was working with waves and single cycles. Under the disk dialog. So I'm kind of jumping way back. And this is some information I skipped a while ago. I guess it really doesn't apply to the envelope dialog so much as it does the disk, but let's just do it. We want to bring a raw wave into the system. This is a single cycle. Okay, since we're wavetable oriented, it's asking, do you want to fill the entire table or insert to a certain slot? Well, let's insert it. So now it's going to bring us, I didn't even press the button and it went to ASSEM. So I can insert it into a certain slot. We've already discussed this. Okay? Now let's undo and go back. What if I chose the other option? Would you like to would you like to fill entire table or insert to a slot? Let's fill the entire table. Okay, now we've got a whole table of that one wave. And as maybe it's starting to become clear, we're able to move through, and maybe we want to change this one or that one, and see, those are the changes that we just made. Really not much to listen to, but anyway, there probably is some use that you could come up with for filling the entire table with one wave and then applying. We haven't really got into table editing functions yet. I might do it tonight, but that might be where you want to start, with a table full of the same wave, and then make dynamic changes through time via the table editing functions. Okay, so what we were talking about was bringing single cycles into the system, and we just discovered that we can either do one slice, it'll force us over to the assemble dialog, or we can fill the entire table. Let's do another file type. Let's do samples. Okay, it's letting me choose stereo or mono. It's letting me have them all. Let's choose a stereo one. Okay, load, and we have thresholds over here and over here, and as you can see, it's widening out the threshold on kind of a y-axis, if you will, and then the x-axis will latch on to wherever amplitude that one touched. So eventually this will reach up to this height, and this will snap over to it. We hit the dotted line. That's the max. I'm going to load a different one so that maybe we can see a little better. Nope. Well, we can see a little bit. So it affects analysis range, okay? A different appearing wave might be more practical. And this is on the right side. Okay. So this is the threshold, and then it moves automatically to the wave that was at that threshold. Okay. Now, I've covered the threshold S and E. I don't know what S, start and, excuse me. Now, threshold, I don't know what that means. Oh, reset. That's a reset. Okay. Very good. The input, the colored, white, yellow, bright, will play. That's my buddy over in Denmark singing in a vocoder. Source, that's this window up here. This was a stereo file. That's not noted anywhere except the fact that we have this dialogue. And if it's a stereo file, we can take it down to mono, or we can play the left or the right. And I can hear, here's right. You might want one or the other, and if you combine them, you might have some cancellations you don't like. I'm going to go ahead and take it anyway. So this is the only way that we can bring a sample into the world of Audioterm, KTERM. We have to resynthesize it. We have to convert it into the 64 partials. Alright, now here we have a topic of discussion. There's one school of thought where we should only bring raw samples into the system at this frequency exactly. However, there is a mechanism here for us to tune the sample to this, or else we are changing this to the sample. I don't know. We're just bringing them together, and we do it by sound. Alright, that's a sine wave of a so-called fundamental frequency. I'm calling it a little bit sharp, so I'm going to flatten it. That sounds like a match to me. Alright, let's talk about some of these buttons. These are 5 cents, 5/100ths of a whatever, a hertz. And this is a fine tune. A coarse tune is if I actually selected one of these keys on the keyboard. Okay, I'm going to go back to where I was, but if I keep pressing this, I'm going to mess it up here. See how the arrow moved to the next note? Okay, so that's a better match, isn't it? Anyway, I'm using this the way I understand it to be intended by the notes in the KVR discussion. Matthias has on KVR. I may be wrong, but okay. Now I'm ready to bring it in by pressing apply. But I wanted to show you these and slice fill mode, full signal excerpts. I guess this is going to be something that you set by ear. This is something I have not explored. Polarity lock again. It was on, now it's off. I do hear a difference. I think that when it resynthesizes the wave file, sometimes it will change the polarity, and this is forcing it to stay on this whatever side of the line. If it was negative, it stays negative, and if it was positive, it stays positive. Just a guess. Sharpen attack. I don't know, you can see something happening on the first slice. Something for experimentation. Contrast. This is a visual, but it's affecting the audio. It's muting it. Okay, I'm back at 100. Now I'm brightening it. So that's definitely got a powerful effect. Alright, I'm back at 100 on contrast or flat, and the other settings are as they were. Oh yeah, P-adapt. That's preview pitch adaptation. This is how I tune the machine to the sample, or the sample to the machine, so that we line up the notes and the sample rates. But I try to match those as best I can. And this one will play a preliminary resynth of the sound at the pitch. But if I turn preview pitch off, we are going to hear the wavetable as it will sound. Let's apply. Doesn't matter what this is. This is only a preview function. And it does sound like what we heard when we turned the preview off, preview pitch off. Alright. We're back in the table viewer. We've seen this before. It was a while ago. Magnification just seems to visually play with the peaks, although it doesn't do it to the audio. V mode is editable slices versus entire table, with the I guess what I would call the interpolated tables. No, not table, slices, excuse me. And these are just different ways of seeing the data. And that's it for envelope addendum. I just wanted to show you how to import the samples and slices. I mean, it's single cycle waves.